Welcome to Würzburg Hauptbahnhof, located in Bavaria, Germany. This region is renowned for its mountains, forests, lakes, and many ornate castles. There's a missing route map over there. Let's fix it while you're here. There are more tasks to discover. Be sure to apply missing route maps, restock first aid points, bag up gravel, and update tunnel length signs. Oh, your train has arrived. So let's climb aboard. This route runs for over 185 kilometers between the cities of Kassel and Würzburg on the Hanover to Würzburg high-speed railway, Germany's first high-speed railway line. Construction on the Hanover to Würzburg line started in 1973 and was opened fully in 1991 at an estimated cost of over 20 million euros per kilometer. A big challenge to the construction of this route was the 50 tunnels and 31 viaducts needed on this 185-kilometer stretch between Kassel and Würzburg. This train was the first intercity express train, known as the ICE-1. It consists of two Class 401 power cars at either end and up to 14 intermediate cars. Built by Siemens between 1989 and 1993, the ICE-1 was Germany's first batch-produced high-speed train and is capable of operational speeds of 280 kilometers per hour. On this route, you will be able to drive the ICE-1 and its more modern successor, the ICE-3, as well as hauling freight in the BR 185.2 locomotive. Experience the thrill of racing through dense, forested valleys, flying over awe-inspiring viaducts, and diving into swooping tunnels. This is Train Sim World, Schnellfahrstrecke Kassel, Würzburg. In this training module, you will be taken through the operation of this BR401 ICE-1 high-speed train. During this brief introduction, you will be covering the critical driving controls and passenger operations. When you are ready, climb aboard to get started. Take a seat in the driver's seat. Firstly, you will need to set the reverser. This controls the direction of travel and activates the cab. Set the headlights to let others around you know this train is operational. Activate the brakes with the brake key. Open the passenger doors to allow boarding. Close the doors before departure. The train is now ready to depart. Release the brakes and apply some power to get moving. You'll be doing one circuit of the training center and aim to come to a stop back at this station again afterwards. Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain speed and reduce motor stress and maintenance requirements. Keeping to speed limits is important. If you begin overspeeding, apply a small amount of braking force using the train brake. Built between 1989 and 1993, the ICE-1 was Germany's first high-speed intercity express train. Although it looks and is operated like an electrical multiple unit, ICE-1 train sets consist of 2 Class 401 power cars and up to 14 intermediate cars. The ICE-1 has a maximum operational speed of 280 km per hour. You are approaching the station. Begin applying a small amount of braking force to bring the train to a gentle stop. Nice job. The train has safely come to a stop. You can now use the door control to open the passenger doors. Good work! That concludes all the basics of operating this train. In this training module, you will be learning to drive this BR403 ICE3, also known as the Intercity Express 3. You will be driving the train a short distance and performing passenger operations. When you're ready to begin, climb aboard. Take a seat in the driver's seat. Firstly, you will need to set the reverser. This controls the direction of travel and activates the cab.
Schließvorgang eingeleitet. Störung. Zugbeeinflussung. WB gesperrt.
Set the headlights to let others around you know this train is operational. Open the passenger doors to allow boarding. Use the door control switch and set the doors to open.
Türen geöffnet.
Close the doors before departure. The train is now ready to depart. Release the brakes and apply some power to get moving. You'll be doing one circuit of the training center and aim to come to a stop back at the station again afterwards. Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain speed and reduce motor stress and maintenance requirements. Keeping to speed limits is important. If you begin overspeeding, apply a small amount of braking force using the train brake. This high-speed electrical multiple unit is manufactured by Siemens and is operated in Germany by Deutsche Bahn. These are the third generation of Intercity Express trains and have been in operation in Germany since the year 2000. The ICE3 runs at speeds of up to 300 km per hour in Germany, although they've reached speeds of 368 km per hour in testing. Rather than having a power car like the ICE 1 and 2, the ICE3 has underfloor motors throughout. This means passengers can be seated in the entire length of the train. Begin to slow down as you approach the upcoming station.
Störung.
Nice work. Open the doors again to start boarding.
Türen geöffnet. Schließvorgang eingeleitet.
Good work. That concludes all the basics of operating this train. In this training module, you will be taken through the operation of a BR185.2 electric locomotive. During this brief introduction, you will cover the critical driving controls and freight operations. When you are ready, climb aboard to get started. Take a seat in the driver's position. This is where you'll be spending most of your time. For this introduction, you will be driving the locomotive a short distance and coupling to a short freight train. Firstly, you will need to set the reverser. This controls the direction of travel and activates the cab. Set the headlights to let others around you know this train is operational. There are three types of brakes that are used on this locomotive: the direct brake, train brake, and electric brake. The direct brake applies air brakes on just the locomotive and not the wagons. This is used usually within yards for shunting operations. Until you get more familiar with the locomotive, you can ignore this control. The train brake applies air brakes on the locomotive and the wagons together. Under most circumstances, you will slow the train using this control. The electric brake uses traction motors to slow the train down without using the air brakes. You can use this to provide additional braking, such as when you need to manage your speed going down a steep gradient. The locomotive is now ready to go. Release the train brake and use the throttle to apply some power to get moving. Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain speed and reduce motor stress and maintenance requirements. Keeping to speed limits is important. If you begin overspeeding, apply a small amount of braking force using the train brake. This train is part of the Bombardier Trax family, a modular platform of diesel and electric locomotives that come in both passenger and freight variations. More than 1,800 locomotives of this family have been sold throughout Europe and are now in use in 17 different countries. The BR185.2, part of the Trax 2 family, is known for the noticeable scale it plays when accelerating from 0 to 16 kilometers per hour. This locomotive can produce 5,600 kilowatts, that's 7,500 horsepower, and has a maximum operational speed of 140 kilometers per hour.
Türfreigabe. Türfreigabe. Türfreigabe.
The freight wagons are behind you. Change direction with the reverser, then change the junction indicated, either by walking over to it or using the map. The junction is correctly aligned, and you can now couple up to the freight. Come to a stop once your locomotive gently touches the wagons. As you reverse, you may find it helpful to use the external camera view to help see behind you. You can couple and uncouple from either an external camera or on foot. Let's connect the formation using the external camera. Now couple the locomotive to the freight. Nice work! Change direction with the reverser and move the train forward into the indicated siding. It may take a couple of minutes for the brakes on the entire train to release.
Türfreigabe. Türfreigabe. Türfreigabe.
You can couple and uncouple from either an external camera or on foot. Uncouple from the wagons on foot this time. That's it for this training module.
Zugbeeinflussung.
In this training module, you will be shown how to use the AFB speed control system. The train has already been set up for you. You'll need to activate AFB through the left multifunction display.
AFB, AFB, AFB.
Apply power to get moving. The train will accelerate until it reaches the selected speed and then maintain it. The AFB speed control system also works with the LZB safety system and will use LZB's maximum permitted speed to control how fast you are going. LZB is covered in a different training module. You are approaching the station. Let's begin to slow down. The train brake, rather than AFB, should be used when you wish to stop. Do not rely solely on AFB for track speed reductions or slowing for signals.
Störung. Störung.
Well done. You have completed the introduction on how to use the AFB speed control system.
Zugbeeinflussung.
In this training module, you'll be out on the real railway, and you'll be learning about the LZB safety system. LZB is required on lines that allow for speeds higher than 160 kilometers per hour, as the braking distances are too high for normal signal operation. This train has already been mostly set up for you, but before you depart, you will need to make sure the LZB safety system and AFB speed control system are switched on. The safety switches are in the isolation cabinet. To enable LZB, first head over to the cabinet and then set the LZB isolation switch to the required position. Sit in the driver's seat. Enable the AFB speed control system in the left multifunction display. Follow the objectives. If you need any more information on the AFB speed control system, there is a dedicated training module which you can access in the training center.
AFB.
Okay. Set the AFB to 60 km per hour with the AFB speed selector, and then apply some power with the throttle to get the train moving. As you are already in an LZB area, the train is already showing the U indicator in the cab and on the HUD, which tells you that the train is under active LZB monitoring. There are two primary components to LZB in the cab. The current maximum permitted speed is indicated on the speedometer with a small red triangle and on the HUD by a blue marker. Currently, the maximum permitted speed is 250 km per hour. The distance to the next upcoming change is shown on the left of the speedometer by a yellow bar and a number, which is the number of meters to the change. On the HUD, this is in hundreds of meters, so a reading of 97 means 9,700 meters, or 9.7 kilometers. Below the speedometer, the upcoming maximum permitted speed is displayed. Move the AFB speed selector all the way forward to its maximum 330 km per hour setting, and notice that the LZB system has applied its own maximum to it and will continue to ensure that the train does not exceed the LZB maximum permitted speed. The LZB distance counter has started going down, and the number at the bottom of the speedometer in the cab is 0, which tells you that you're approaching a stop. You will soon see the LZB maximum permitted speed begin to drop, and the train will automatically begin to slow down to stay within it. It will do this all the way to stopping the train without your intervention. However, you should remain vigilant and apply more braking if you feel it's needed to remain within the maximum permitted speed. Keep an observing eye on the progress of the train. Since the maximum permitted speed is reducing, the automated systems should manage it perfectly, but are not a substitute for the driver in charge. The G indicator has lit up on the HUD and on the train display. When this is solidly lit, that is telling you that the train must slow down. With the AFB speed control system enabled, this should happen automatically. However, if you choose to drive without AFB, this is when you should be slowing down. Once the G light starts flashing, you are going too fast and are about to get an emergency brake application. You should brake much stronger if this happens and get back below the maximum permitted speed. Okay. You're about to see a signal with all its lights turned off. This is called a dark signal. Signals go dark when there is a train in the section they protect. With traditional signaling systems, this would show a red and prohibit you from going any further until the other train has moved. But under LZB, you are able to rely on this more advanced system to let you proceed into the occupied block safely, knowing that LZB will direct you to stop as required. This is the main signal showing no lights, related to the previous distance signal that you passed. You are now entering an occupied block and will continue to rely on LZB as it brings you to a stop.
SIFA. SIFA.
As you now come to a stop, keep an eye out for the white board on the right-hand side of the track ahead. It will have a number in it. On this line, LZB works by breaking the large main blocks into much smaller ones and representing those by these white boards on the right. This is an LZB block board, and it's this board that your train is not permitted to pass at the moment. You have come to a stop, and the train ahead has already started moving. So momentarily, LZB will recognize this, and the maximum permitted speed will jump up, and you'll be able to get moving again. The white board with a symbol that looks like an X means this is a distance signal, and is warning you that the next main signal is protecting an occupied block, so both this and the following signal will be dark. Continue to monitor progress as the train comes to a complete stop shortly. You are now proceeding along the line into Würzburg. A few kilometers out of Würzburg, you'll need to handle the train into the station. For now, continue to monitor the train as it navigates the different speeds while you follow the train up ahead. In a moment, the Ende light will begin flashing on the HUD and in the cab. Once this happens, you will have 10 seconds to respond to it. You will need to press PZB release. If you fail to do so in time, the train will begin braking towards zero, but you can still press PZB release at any point to regain control of the train. The Ende light flashing signifies that LZB control will be coming to an end soon, and it is therefore crucial that the driver confirms they will be taking back full control of the train.
Zug beeinflussen. Zug beeinflussen. Zug beeinflussen.
Once acknowledged, the Ende light will remain on and solid, confirming that it has been acknowledged and reminding you that LZB will be ending soon. Once LZB actually ends, the light will go out. You do not need to acknowledge the final end of LZB, but your AFB will become inactive until you reset it to zero and then reapply it. As you are leaving LZB control, it becomes important that you begin reading the signals up ahead in more detail. This one has a 6 below the lights and is telling you that you must be doing less than 60 km per hour by the next signal. Begin slowing as required. The Ende light has just gone out completely, which means that you are now completely out of LZB control and back to traditional signaling systems. The U indicator has also gone out, confirming LZB is no longer active, and the B indicator has come on, letting you know it remains ready to come back online later. By now, the train should be going around 60 km per hour as instructed by the previous signal, and the next one with the 3 at the bottom is instructing you to be down to 30 km per hour by the next signal. Now that you are out of LZB, you should reset the AFB selector lever back to zero. As you are approaching a stop in the station ahead, however, you should not reapply it. Continue into the station using the throttle and brake as required. This signal with 2 yellow lights on it tells you that the next signal following it is a red stop signal, so you should prepare to stop. In this case, the stop signal is at the other end of the platform, where you will be stopping anyway, but it is good to be aware of the upcoming signals. Now that you are out of LZB, you should reset the AFB selector lever back to zero. As you are approaching a stop in the station ahead, however, you should not reapply it. Continue into the station using the throttle and brake as required.
AFB. AFB.
Störung.
You've arrived successfully at Würzburg. Well done. That concludes this training module. Please repeat this module as many times as you wish by finding it in the training center until you get used to how the systems work.